Hello, my movie loving peeps. Thank you so much for clicking on an episode of Side Flick. My name is Chris. Let's talk about some movie news. Some of the stuff we're going to be discussing here today is we got our first look at Saw 10 that the fans right now are just calling Saw X. We got Sony developing live action Spider-Man series based off their Spider-Verse characters. Even finally some details on the upcoming Alien reboot movie that Disney's working on. That along with so much more. You guys already know the drill. Leave your opinions down below. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. But first I want to go ahead and thank the sponsor of today's video, Established Titles, that have made me a lord. Established Titles is a fun, novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. They work with global charities, One Tree Planted, and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. And by purchasing your own square foot of land, you're not only going to get a certificate naming yourself a lord or lady, but also every square foot of land purchase allows Established Titles to plant a tree all around the world. Along with purchasing your square foot of land, it comes with a unique plot number in Edelston, Scotland. The first 200 people to purchase a title pack using my link will effectively be next to my plot. And just imagining 200 of us having our own plot in Scotland, we could go and build our own 3C kingdom. The best part about becoming a lord and lady is that you could officially put these titles on your credit card, plane ticket, or even dating profiles. That'll help someone swipe right on you. I think this makes an amazing last minute gift to anybody with some Scottish heritage or just want to be referred to as a lord or lady while also being able to do something good for our planet here. So please use the link in my description or go to establishedtitles.com/3C and use code 3C to get 10% off your order. Do something good for the planet and let's become lords and ladies all together. Thank you again, Established Titles, for sponsoring today's video. And well, with that said, let's dive into our first thing, talking about a trailer here and determining whether it's trash or treasure, because as you guys know, one man's trash, another man's treasure. And it's Disney here finally releasing their first trailer for the movie Elemental. And I think it's a given whenever Pixar has a new movie, a lot of people are excited, but over the last few years and the way Disney has kind of treated Pixar, putting a lot of their movies straight to Disney Plus, they really haven't had a big box office success in a while. Even Lightyear turned out to be kind of meh for them. But I gotta tell you, here looking at Elemental, this movie looks gorgeous. It gives me all the feels of classic Pixar where they put real thought into their story. I know we don't get much of a hint to their story, but it seems pretty obvious here. It's a forbidden love story between this fire element, Ember, and this water character, Wade. I really dig the animation in here and just the kind of somber pace the trailer had. It gave me the feeling that this is going to be a Pixar classic, and that's what I'm hoping to get out of this. I know some people are like, oh, this is just Zootopia with Element, or we've seen this done a dozen times, but I'm not someone to be cynical and give up on Pixar just yet. I'm thinking this is going to be a big hit, and hopefully it turns out to be a big box office success, because Pixar, you needs it. So I'm gonna give this trailer a treasure. What did you guys think of the first trailer for Elemental? Moving on here, we have our first set photo and confirmation for the movie Saw 10 that the fans right now are just calling Saw X. We don't know the official title of the movie, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does turn out being called Saw X, where it confirms something that we've all been hearing surrounding this movie, that it will bring back Tobin Bell as John Kramer, our Jigsaw for this film, most likely meaning this entire film is some sort of prequel. Rumors have said it takes place between Saw 1 and 2. And just looking at this photo, I tell you guys, I'm conflicted. I'm happy John Kramer is back. He's gonna be Jigsaw because he does elevate the movies whenever he's a part of them. But the way they have already tried rebooting this franchise twice, either with Jigsaw or their spin-off Spiral, and now they're just reverting back to going to the old timeline with a hidden story we never knew about. For all I know, this little kid he's talking to could turn out to be another apprentice by the end of the film and have that music play in the background while I sit there in the theater going, gotta admit, that music always gives us chills, huh? But look, it could have been much worse, Saw fans. Since this is a flashback movie, he could have been wearing a backwards baseball cap the entire film. That's how they make him look younger. How you guys feel about this first look in Saw 10, confirming that, one, the movie's actually getting made, the return of Tobin Bell, and if you're excited for this movie. Sticking a bit on the horror train here, last side flick I was talking to you guys about a new cast member joining the Alien reboot movie that's getting made by Disney the same way they rebooted the Predator franchise with Prey. Well, after I posted that side flick, even more details about this new upcoming Alien movie have surfaced, and I want to know your guys' take on this. So a lot of these details are coming from Daniel RPK. I guess since they're casting now, he's gotten his hands on some of the call sheets and informations about the film. And some of the things that he was letting people know is that, one, this is going to be a standalone Alien film, so it doesn't look like it's going to connect to any other Alien movie. It'll have a budget of about $75 million, which is kind of modest for an Alien movie nowadays. It is going to be going direct to Hulu, similar to Prey. The plot is going to be very basic, with a group who crash lands on an alien planet where xenomorphs are then going to chase the crew. The title as of right now is Alien Romulus, but the title could change whenever they officially want to market this thing. So a couple of thoughts on that. It looks like they are taking the formula that they did with the Predator franchise and just basically starting from scratch. And I'm okay with that. When you have so many sequels to a franchise, you just want to get grander, bigger, more epic, and then along that way, you lose touch of what the franchise originally was. So by forcing itself to go back to basics, I think this could work out great. I think it worked out good for Predator. I am just hoping there's going to be more to the story than just, oh, random space crew lands on a planet, aliens start taking them down one by one. As far as the title goes also, Alien Romulus, I guess that's fine. That's most likely just going to be the name of the ship that this crew is operating. I think the most grand and epic thing that they can do right now is, since this is like a little franchise going straight to Hulu, just start out a versus movie, man. Start inching your way closer to an Alien vs Predator movie, but make it actually really good this time. I'm just still surprised with the success of Prey that they still want to send this movie to Hulu, when I think a lot of people were buzzing about, whoa, Prey should have gone to theaters. But to you Alien fans, how do you feel about these details concerning the Alien franchise? Talking about Deadpool 3, now we've just gotten more and more information about this movie as the weeks have come along. That makes a lot of sense because the movie is set to start filming early next year, so casting sheets and information are starting to leak out, and some of this stuff is exciting. Just to summarize some of the things that we've been hearing about the movie, if you haven't heard, is of course this movie's gonna star Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool and Wolverine. That was always the original plan for Deadpool 3. Ryan Reynolds just didn't know if Hugh Jackman would be attached, and he even confirmed it would be in the vein of a road trip movie with two buddies. Then we got our first big rumor here that Owen Wilson, who played Mobius, will be a TVA agent in Deadpool 3, bringing the TVA part of that film. That kind of blew all my expectations and made me go, this movie's gonna be big. And now with this latest rumor here, it seems even more crazier. We have one report claiming that Ryan Reynolds is wanting to revisit the other Fox franchises before Disney took over. So that's movies like the early Fantastic Four movies, the early X-Men movies. And even before this rumor, this is actually what I've always wondered if Deadpool 3 was going to be about, sort of the goodbye for the Fox universe. Don't forget, Kevin Feige was actually a producer on a lot of those old Fox movies before he was running the MCU. So I think Kevin Feige would be fully on board to saying goodbye to those movies he had a hand on working on. And the other latest crazy rumor that we just got here is that Ryan Reynolds wants to give a role to Channing Tatum in the movie, and if you don't remember, Channing Tatum was confirmed to get a solo Gambit movie before the Fox universe just ran itself into the ground. You pair that up knowing that the director of Deadpool 3, Sean Levy, is also the same guy who did Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds, who had a Chris Evans and Channing Tatum cameo in that movie. It seems very likely that this magic duo could convince Channing Tatum to appear in the film, and even Chris Evans himself to play the Human Torch once again. Now, none of that is obviously confirmed, and it's just rumors for the time being, but I feel like there's a strong possibility. But even if Chris Evans does show up as Human Torch, I think it'll be like a 5-10 second thing, but that would still blow our minds, would it not? And I just can't think of like the biggest inside joke to have Channing Tatum finally play the character of Gambit, something he was so excited for that got taken away from him. If Ryan Reynolds can give that to him for a little cameo, that would be so cool. So yeah, man, I'm hoping Deadpool can kind of pull off this goodbye to the Fox universe, and it turns out being one great movie, and then we'll have like almost a perfect trilogy on our hands. What are you guys thinking about these details involved with Deadpool 3? What do you think will actually happen, or what do you think is BS? Moving on here, talking about Sony and what they're doing here, because man, I'm conflicted, y'all. So we just got reports from Deadline that Sony is working on live-action Spider-Man spin-off, specifically on the character of Silk. The show in question is going to be titled Silk Spider Society, and will have the showrunner from The Walking Dead, Angela Kane, a part of it. They also mentioned people like Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who work alongside the Spider-Verse movies, are also attached to give a helping hand in bringing to life Cindy Moon's Silk. The show will be coming to MGM Plus and also airing on Amazon Prime. And okay, let's just break this all down. We have heard rumblings for the longest time that Sony has been trying to get a Spider-Man related TV show happening at Amazon. And I do find it so odd that it would go to Amazon Prime when Sony has this deal with Marvel to bring Spider-Man into the MCU. But I guess if you then bring in a live-action Spider show on Disney Plus, it's going to confuse audiences and they're going to go, Is this part of the MCU? Also, from my understanding, and some of you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember hearing that anytime Sony wants to do something like this, they still have to get the approval from Marvel. Although Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man characters, I've heard before that Marvel still has to approve certain things they do, like live-action TV shows. And they mentioned in the article here, it was a complex web of rights that it took a lot of negotiating for them to get right. And we just also heard a week or two ago that Tom Holland finally is signing his deal for Spider-Man 4, I bet you there had to have been conversations where Sony's like, all right, we're going to give you Tom Holland. He can show up in Secret Wars. We're even going to let you use Toby and Andrew. But you gotta give us some Spider-Man TV show rights because we want to create a whole universe here. But my conflicting feelings on this come when it's like, this is awesome that a character like Silk is going to be able to get their own live-action series. We're going to get a live-action Spider-Man related show on Amazon. That could be really cool. But I'm also like, a character like this should deserve their own movie. Like, what is Sony doing that this is what they decide gets a show instead of a movie? I just want to be in that Sony board meeting where they decide Kraven the Hunter, Morbius, they get the solo movies, and then all these fascinating, well fleshed out Spider variant characters like Silk, maybe Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Man 2099, we're possibly just gonna give them a live action series on Amazon, because they're saying that this Silk series will be the first of many if it's successful. And them titling it Spider Society should let you know there's gonna probably be multiple spider-like people showing up in there, because that phrase Spider Society is tied into the Spider-Verse and having multiple characters out there. So to me, I just find it odd, and I'm also curious how many people out there will actually be interested in this. I know there's a lot of diehard comic book fans that actually know Silk, have read Silk. I'm not gonna pretend like I was one of them, but I will say one of the reasons I am familiar with Silk is because I've heard from a lot of diehard comic book fans how great of a character she is. I also got to think, with Madam Web introducing a lot of spider-like variants in that upcoming movie, if any of those characters will then show up in this show. So this is where I throw it off to you guys. You hear that Sony is working on these live-action Spider-Verse spin-off characters, starting off with Silk. Do you think this is a good move? Do you think general audiences will be interested? How do you guys see this playing out? But that is all the movie news we currently have going on right now, guys. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch me talk some movie news. Don't be forgetting to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.